In this lecture, we are going to take a deeper look at the range function in Python. In prior videos, we have mainly used the range function with for loops when we want to iterate over a sequence of numbers. This lecture will explore Python's range function more in depth. First off, what exactly does the range function do? The range function will return a sequence of numbers. In its most basic form, we can pass in just one number to the range function. For example, let's create a variable named x and set it equal to range 3. Note that the range function starts at 0 by default and increments by 1 each time by default. Also note that range is actually a type of variable in Python. What exactly do these two sentences that I just said mean? Well, right now, what is the value of x? Specifically, right now x holds a sequence of numbers 0, 1, and 2. It is of type range, a special data type in the Python programming language, specifically designed to store a sequence of numerical values. To see what I mean, we can use a for loop for number in x, and then print out the value of number to the console. When we run the code, notice that the values 0, 1, and 2 were printed to the console. Now that is just the most basic version of the range function. When we pass in just one argument, we are specifying the stop value. In other words, x equals range 3 is the equivalent of doing x equals range 0, 3, 1, meaning that x will start at 0, stop at 3, and step by 1. The three parameters of the range function are start, stop, and step. Start is an optional parameter, which is an integer number that tells the range where to start. The default starting position is 0. The range function's second parameter is stop, and it is the only required parameter of the three parameters for the range function. It is an integer number specifying the position at which to stop. One important point to note is that the value we specify is not included. For example, a stop value of 3 means that the last value in the range will be 2. The third parameter for the range function is step. It is an optional integer parameter that tells Python the value to increment by for each number in the range. The default value for the step is 1. Let's say we want to print out even numbers in a certain range. For example, if we want to print out the sequence 0, 2, 4, and 6. Can you think of the proper start, stop, and step values to do that? Why don't you pause the video and write down your guess as to how to create a range that will contain the values 0, 2, 4, and 6. Okay, let's see how to do this. In order to generate the sequence of even numbers, 0, 2, 4, and 6, we will specify a start value of 0, a stop value of 8, and a step value of 2. When we run the code, you will notice that the values 0, 2, 4, and 6 were printed to the console. In the next lecture, we will learn about the else statement and how to use it with loops.